I can't see it being a massive scene because of the amount of people which just won't get it in a way and will want it to be faster or more techy or whatever.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy XI, and today we're going to be talking about Bristol, the city that's been pushing the boundaries of music genres for half a century. From sound system clashes to dubstep's darkest corners. This is the story of how Bristol became the lab for underground music, and what that meant for the early development of dubstep. Buckle up, this one's for the heads. Alright, today we're diving deep into the history of bass music in Bristol. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why Bristol is still influencing music worldwide. In the late 70s, Bristol was facing unemployment and racial tension due to a surge in right-wing politics taking root. As a response to unethical and racist policing policies, the St. Paul's riots would kick off in 1980. The blowback from this resulted in basically an autonomous, self-policing zone, which allowed sound systems to operate late into the night without interference. Enter the Wild Bunch sound system. Alumni from this crew? Yeah. Just a little group known as Massive Attack. They set the stage for what would become a key part of the Bristol sound, blending reggae, hip-hop, soul, and bass into what we now know as trip-hop. And let's not forget one of my personal faves, Portishead. In the 90s, Stokes Croft had become the heart of Bristol's artist community. Rude boy culture was alive and well, and just like in the rest of the UK, jungle and drum and bass rose quickly in popularity. Bristol acts like Roni Size, Crust, and Die were pushing the sound forward. Roni Size even bagged the Mercury Prize in 1997 for his album New Forms. At this point, it was becoming clear that Bristol wasn't just a city, it was a sonic movement. Fast forward to the early 2000s, drum and bass was everywhere, but Bristol was hungry for something new. Enter Pinch. After hitting up Forward with the homie Thinking, who was working at local D&B powerhouse Chemical Records, he came back to Bristol ready to bring that dubstep sound home. But here's the thing. Bristol has always been eclectic. So when Pinch teamed up with Blazy to evolve his existing night Context, an open format night that mixed dub, drum and bass, and experimental genres, it was a perfect fit.
For me, dubstep was just made for Bristol.
And Context would become Subloaded, Bristol's answer to London's Forward. The best spot in town to get your chest caved in with bass. Like this. Other nights like Roughneck Discotheque and Kid Cuts Noir kept the vibe moving, blending D&B and dubstep in a way that only Bristol could. And local record shop, Rooted Records, already well known and regarded for its UKG and two-step selections, quickly became something like the Big Apple Records of Bristol, the go-to spot for fresh dubstep sounds. If you don't know what I mean by Big Apple Records, you can watch this video here to learn more about the early days of dubstep in London through the lens of Mala from DMZ. Pinch would go on to start the label Tonic and make a splash with their first release, a collab between Skream and Loefah called 28 Grams. And while nowadays Tectonic surely holds the title for Bristol's most iconic dubstep label, this era saw a small explosion of labels, like Chemical Records' dubstep label, Off-Road, as well as Kid Cut's Immerse Records, which featured artists like Benga, Walsh, TRG, and myself. These labels were something special in this era, looking for and championing boundary-breaking sounds in the mid and late 2000s. Bristol as a scene always seemed to stand apart from the mainstream, seeming to operate almost obliviously to the trends going on in the outside world, while simultaneously defining them. So now, let's talk about Hench.
Hench is like us, basically.
The moment of this.
Hard-earned, never caught hustling. Blah.
This crew was mostly D&B refugees that switched lanes to dubstep, a fairly common thing at the time, to be honest. And they brought the heat. Komonazmuk, White Boy, Jakes and Headhunter were pushing boundaries. Komonazmuk had been a contributing member of drum and bass outfit Ice Minus for years. Jakes was already a D&B MC on the rise, thanks to his work that he had done in collaboration with Technical Itch, one of my personal favorite producers. One of his early releases, Rhythm, can still be heard in dubstep sets today. Absolute banger. And Headhunter seamlessly infused techno into the sound of dubstep. He would go on to start Addison Groove several years later. In fact, Pinch and I played South by Southwest the year that Addison Groove unveiled the now legendary track, Jimmy Mack. We would later go on to collab on a record together, with him remixing my track The Ghost for Orca Recordings. As well as another collab, Grabbing Our Balls, in an alleyway in San Francisco. White Boy was also somebody I spoke with quite frequently over AIM. Internet dubplate culture video coming real soon. And his side project, Orphan 101, is one of my favorite hybrids of techno and dubstep to this very day. This crew was born out of beat battles between the members, and with them occupying a similar space in the now quite oversaturated drum and bass scene, they teamed up together to set their sights on dubstep. And then, of course, there's Joker, pioneer of the purple sound. His tracks were like nothing else. Synthy, futuristic, and dripping with Bristol vibes. The excitement around the purple sound can't be overstated. When I played with him in Toronto, he was literally mobbed by the crowd trying to exit the front entrance at Wrong Bar. His label, Capsize Records, became the home of this new wave. And suddenly, with all this combined, everybody was paying attention to Bristol again. By the late 2000s and early 2010s, the sound of dubstep was evolving. Rooted Records had shut down, but had given birth to Idle Hands. Chemical Records also had shut, and Tonic kept on dominating. Record labels like Skull Disco were infusing techno into dubstep in ways that felt very fresh, unique, and distinctly Bristolian. Due to the not quite yet unified sound of dubstep around this time, people had started to become obsessed with labeling every subgenre. Most notably here, we're in post-dubstep territory. It was all still mostly just dubstep though. Artists like Peverelist and his label, Punch Drunk. Appleblim with his Apple Pips label. Ohm Unit. And Kahn. Continued to push the sound forward by blending in even more outside influences and playing around with the tempo a little bit, while artists like Felle, Asusu, and Julio Bashmore kept the party going with an emphasis on melodic vibes and encouraging further crossovers into new territory. Continuing Bristol's legacy as a global hub for future-forward sound, giving us music that hits different. So there you have it, the story of how Bristol became the beating heart of bass music. From sound systems to dubstep, this city's been rewriting the rulebook for decades. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Like the video if you liked the video. Also want to give a big thanks to Gutter Breaks and the Lo-Fi Productions crew for documenting this era so extensively. I've put a link to the documentary Living Inside the Speaker in the description below. You'll also find links to my music and to my Twitch channel where you can catch me DJing every Monday night. Until next time, big up Bristol, the city that never stops innovating. Peace.
Game.